and news is inherently a vehicle for nationalism. A nationalist, a former union minister and a parliamentarian. Joining us now on the NBF National Conclave is Mr. Ravi Shankar Prasad on the future of news and nationalism.
So that's it, ladies and gentlemen. Make no more ado. Inviting on stage Mr. Ravi Shankar Prasad, a nationalist, a former union minister and a parliamentarian, to speak on news and nationalism, and of course our very own Mr. Arnab Goswami as well. Gentlemen, the floor is all yours. Can't wait to hear you.
Sir, the mic is yours. No, you sit, sir, please. Please, unless you want to leave and you're tired of my questions, you can sit here. We can sit here as long as we like. So, ladies and gentlemen, in the 1990s, once I was doing a TV program. That is when I started doing a program occasionally on TV. I got an opportunity to do a debate program. I was very young, and I was told that we have this new speaker who is going to join us on a link from Patna. And we were about 10 minutes late on him. Like, we made him wait 10 minutes. And he said, this man has a huge temper. He's getting very angry. He's threatening to walk out of the program. And I said, who is it? Who is it? They said, no, he's the first time we are getting him on television. First time this man is coming on national television. I said, who is this unique personality who is getting an opportunity for the first time on national television and is throwing a gigantic tantrum? That person was Ravi Shankar Prasad. His first television appearance was with me, where he was very angry because I made him wait 10 minutes. And obviously he's mellowed down because I made him wait 15 minutes today, but you've not walked out. What a journey for you, right?
Well, friends, Arnav is a very good friend. I take all his barb with a smile. In fact, he has forgotten, he only remembered the Patna chapter. My first formal TV appearance was with him when I became an MP in the year 2000, I suppose, or 2001. He is sitting with some of his very eminent friends who are now on the other side. And that was my first appearance with him. And thereafter, he rose very high in life. I am very happy with his performance. I am proud of him. The way he left his mark on the entire television news ecosystem of the country. And today, when I see him leading this NBF, a vast coalition of news channels from across the country, of all sides. In a lighter vein, you know how difficult it is to run a coalition, and heading a coalition of broadcasters or news channels is not a small job. Therefore, my compliments to him. Let's go straight away on the job.
Well, I know. But as I was telling, my dear friends at NBF, this is a stable coalition.
Yes, it is.
Unlike you politicians, we run stable coalitions, are we right? With a stable and functioning coalition with its own governance mechanism inside it. But should we hit the ground running now, Mr. Prasad?
One comment in lighter vein. Coalition to run also need to have an effective leader. And on a very lighter note, and with great respect to all, with malice to none, the age of Devegowdas and Inder Gujral are over now. Therefore, if some people are trying to revive the coalition in the same model, sorry, Arnab Goswami, it is not going to have any future.
You are creating an imaginary opposition where you have effectively reduced, where you've created a situation where there is no opposition in the country. But Mr. Prasad, let's hit the ground running, and let me just, this has been a broad sweep conversation. We began the day with industry giants, people from the world of business. So we had about 6 or 7 sessions on the world of business. Then we had keynote speakers on politics. We've had sessions on politics. Now I just want you to turn the clock back 25 years, Mr. Prasad. Then and now, as a participant in the media, as a stakeholder in the media in a way, right? as an observer in the media, in your regulatory function as the Union Minister for Information and Broadcasting, a ministry which you have held in the Vajpayee government and in the Modi government. So I don't know too many people who have held the same ministry after a span of 15 years.
I was IT and communication in Modi government.
So you know, you had this interface with the media.
I was law common in both the governments.
Yeah, law was common, sorry. But you have had this interface with the media for 25 years. Give me a bird's eye view of how you see the media evolve over 25 years in this country.
Well, friends, let me give you my own understanding of media. The first was when Congress was all powerful. And the most glaring example was emergency, because I'm also a product of JP movement. We fought against the emergency. And the best part, some very leading lights were arrested. It is a lesson for those who criticize us today. They need to ponder. Kuldeep Nair was arrested, an eminent editor, and there was not even a whisper. And I remember Advaniji coining a famous expression, or no, when they were asked to bend, they were prepared to crawl. And that was the whole scenario. Then came 80s. Then came the Ram Janmabhoomi movement you talked about. I was Advaniji's lawyer also. Was Ram Janmabhoomi movement a great newsworthy event or not? It was. How it was painted, it changed the politics of the country in many ways. Now, you need to project the news as it is. You can give your views also, but the way this movement or my party, the BJP, was portrayed, we all know it. Take the case of Vajpayee government. When Vajpayee ji became the Prime Minister for 13 days, how he was caricatured, how could you become the Prime Minister? BJP was the biggest party, and the rest is history, is too well known to you. Then Arno, again I wish to compliment Arno, he was on then other channel. I was an important voice of opposition in the parliament, also the deputy leader of my party in the Rajya Sabha. Great gruesome cases of corruption came. I don't know, some of you remember it or not, the 2G, to a spectrum allocation, to a whole lot of other things happened. How did media behave? And I would like to say with great respect, except few exceptions, how did the print media behave? 1, 2 exception newspapers were there, I need to salute them. And thereafter, I remember Arno Goswami taking a frontal lead therein, and some others also joined in. And ultimately what happened, we all know it. Therefore, when we talk of media today, we have to keep this perspective in mind. I'm sorry to make this comment, ladies and gentlemen, but how much my Prime Minister has been victimized as a Gujarat Chief Minister? He was getting elected and re-elected. Riots anywhere is unfortunate or no. Those who have perpetrated need to be ultimately suffer the process of law. Mr. Modi has to suffer it. Supreme Court set up a SIT. The SIT investigated him for 2 years. A sitting elected chief minister was subjected to 12 hours of investigation by the SIT. And mind you, on Gujarat there was no public protest by BJP as it happened in case of a leader, in the case of the great National Herald scam case. You know it very well. How did the media report? He was exonerated, yet questions were asked. It's a different matter. Today he has come with flying colors. Now I come, Arno, to this stage where I have to raise some questions, and I will be happy if we engage in that. When the PFI was banned, why there was no clear voice of appreciation in some columns? Forget about the political leaders who maintain a conspicuous silence. Why no questions were asked that this rank anti-national group which is out to wreck the country because of terrorism and their own radical agenda, must be put in its place. Why silence? And therefore, today I am asking this question from this forum and this platform. The second question I would like to ask, I see many of my distinguished women colleagues here. Triple talaq, I had the privilege and honor that the Prime Minister asked me to lead the abolition of that bill in the Parliament. Today it became a law. Except the BJP and the allies of NDA, except one, all other opposed. All means all. Was any question asked by the media to the Congress party, headed by a woman leader of some distinction, or to Mamta ji, who is also a woman leader in Bengal? Why you are opposing it? Many Islamic countries have already completely regulated and controlled this vicious, barbaric practice of triple talaq. और उन्होंने आपको बताया हम इसका इन्वेस्टिगेशन कर रहे थे ना, तो आई वॉज शॉक टू हियर रोटी जली हुई बन गई 3 तलाक, पत्नी लेट से उठी 3 तलाक. And I met an IT professional. She came to meet me. She gave birth to the 3rd girl child और husband ने गल्फ कंट्री से व्हाट्सएप से भेज दिया तलाक तलाक तलाक. It was so atrocious. लेकिन बड़ा सवाल मैं आपके सामने उठाना चाहता हूं कि क्या कांग्रेस पार्टी, क्या बीएसपी, क्या लेफ्ट पार्टी, क्या सीपीआई, क्या सीपीएम, क्या डीएमके ये खामोश रहे और बाकी लीडिंग मीडिया भी उन्होंने सवाल क्यों नहीं पूछा जो हमसे रोज सवाल पूछते हैं, जो रोज बाकी बात करते हैं? तो ये सवाल उठने चाहिए. And the third issue or no, which I would like to flag here, is nationalism a dirty word? आप डिफर कर सकते हैं, आप हमारे से डिफर करिए, इट्स योर राइट. आप औरों से डिफर करिए, इट इज योर राइट. But the very idea of India, the very idea of a sovereign, secure India, why should it become an anathema? And the last point, or no, before we come to discussing, because I thought I must convey what I thought on this particular forum. If Modi ji is reviving the beauty of Kashi Vishwanath, if he is reviving the beauty of Ujjain Mahakal, or restoring the glory of Kedarnath and Badrinath, I see people are uncomfortable. Why? Is the civilizational heritage of India so bad? It was a pleasure to see him talking about the great glory of the temples of South India, all thousands years old. Why not? Why can't Ayodhya and Mathura and Kashi and other Rameshwaram can become as beautiful, as glorious as other cities of the world having the religious significance? That is very important. If you do that, then India is being taken backward. No.
Now this is great, but...
That is a narrative.
No, this is great, but there's the other narrative, you see. As they say in English, and I need a clarification on this, because you see, we are a very robust body. Within this coalition of this federation of the News Broadcasters Federation are people with an independent spirit. If I call you for one of our coffee sessions, you will never be able to find a situation where anyone agrees with each other. I shouldn't be telling a politician how the media has fights within, but anyway. Fundamentally, the question is, as they say in English, Mr. Prasad, the shoe pinches when it's on the other foot. I remember you as opposition leader. But you believe in the rights when you are in the opposition. And you believe in the restrictions when you're in power. The restrictions on 19(1)A were introduced by Nehru, am I right? Rhythm? And a few years after, when he realized that he cannot allow us the same level of freedom as in the other countries who he referred to. Are you open to a real dialogue? If you are, then are you open to the contrary position being told to you Or do you also react much in the same way? First question. So do you then start using the same clauses brought in by Nehru, the same restrictions brought in by your political opponents, who you have never had any ideological convergence with? Do you shoot off their shoulder? That's question one. Question two, I'm glad you reminded me. You were a minister in the Vajpayee government. Did you not try to set a narrative in your own way? Did you not go on this massive publicity campaign of India shining? Were you not closeted? Did you not start believing in your own narrative? And did the people of India not prove you wrong? So I have two questions. One is, do you practice what you preach when you are in power? Two, when you are in power, do you try to set the narrative too hard? I'm not saying you have an equivalent of India shining now, but you do remember India shining and you were in government then. So I want a clear answer to both these thoughts, Mr. Prasad.
I must tell you, friends, I'm one-to-one with him after some time. The same style, the same eloquence, the same vehemence. Good or no? Keep it up. We have not met on television for some time.
You're welcome, sir. You're welcome.
We have not met on television for some time. Well, friends, let me be very, very honest. Janta Malik hai. People are the boss. We are very proud the way this whole national road connectivity got started. The way the other initiative started by Vajpayee government. The way India became an atomic power. We lost. We have never cribbled about that. But to say that our achievements were not something significant is something I am not willing to accept. In democracy, the biggest thing is people know who they are and they can change the government. But Arno, since you are asking me this question in a different context, let me reply to you straight away in this context. समस्या अर्णव बाबू ये होती है कि कुछ लोग को परेशानी होती है कि नरेंद्र मोदी जीत कैसे जाते हैं. Why Mr. Modi wins? He won a complete majority in the year 2014. He won a complete majority in 2019. Who knows, he will again repeat thrice in 2024 as well. Hopefully all indications are to that extent. But the way he has led India, led the country, or now see his courage. Today he was in Mana village, Badrinath Yatra. And from there, did he not give some indication to China also? Just to give you one example, the roads between India and China on the borders were never a priority agenda for the Manmohan Singh government. There is a statement by Mr. Anthony, as the defense minister, we don't want to create trouble with China by making our roads very perfect there. Now see all the roads, connectivity, all the bridges. India's global prestige, respect, it must have been talked about. Economic clout, it must have been talked about. But the point I'm trying to say is, you criticize, but try to see the positive aspect as well. Now on 19, let me give a reply both as a student of India's constitution and also as a political activist. When 19 was introduced as a fundamental right, Rhythm, kindly check it up, freedom of speech and expression. At the same time, 19.2 was also introduced. What is Article 19.2? Reasonable restrictions can be imposed in the case of safety, security, integrity and sovereignty of India. And on many other clauses, association, vagara, vagara. Therefore, who introduced this particular clause? Dr. Rajendra Prasad, Sardar Patel, Jawaharlal Nehru, Maulana Azad, Dr. Ambedkar and a host of other makers of India's constitution. Therefore, reasonable restriction part is a part of that. We have not brought it. But Arno, let me ask a counter question to you in this context.
I am moderating the session.
No, but I have to. Then you reply and then we'll proceed. You have mentioned it in the course of debate on your channel. And now the police investigation confirms. And then I was handing these portfolios, I had also sensitive information. If from across the border, you are getting sponsored WhatsApp messages, unidentified, mark the word, designed to provoke on false propaganda. Should the government keep quiet in the plea of freedom of speech and expression? Allow the riots to take place? My young friends are sitting before me. As an IT minister, I used to get a lot of complaint. Mother said, my daughter's morphed image is being circulated by the ex-boyfriend. Please help me. Should I keep quiet? Or I should respect the dignity of that young woman? These are questions to be considered when you talk of freedom of speech and expression. And what they used to say, go and file a complaint in America. No, you have to abide by the laws of India. Therefore, or no, it is both ways. Let me in your presence commit on behalf of my party, Narendra Modi ji, and our school of thought, we respect freedom of speech and expression.
Can I respond to, if
Yes.
that was a question?
Yes, go ahead.
Well, I believe that you have allowed American tech giants to plunder our market. Allow me to complete. You've been IT minister. If you want me to be frank, I'll tell you. Organizations whose servers are not in India and nor will they be in India, who are therefore not committed to follow the Indian law, will continually be in litigation with you in Indian courts, are controlling the narrative as you have seen. You battled it yourself. I compliment you. But I find it both amusing and worrying that an organization like Twitter continues to be the central social media tool for millions of Indians. Are we incapable of building an alternative, or are we incapable of promoting an alternative, is the thought which we have to ask ourselves. That's one question. My second question to you, sir, that's my response. So I want to draw you into this narrative building thing. We are all journalists, we run media companies, we edit media companies. Our lives are in the media. You said people are against you, but are you not also making mistakes yourself? Why is it that after you got such a big verdict in 2014, was your government completely put on the edge over the land acquisition bill? Sir, May 16, 2014, you got elected. By January, your government was completely up to the wall. Now, either you had a problem then in communication. Second example, why was your government completely put to the wall over quote-unquote the farmers' agitation, which I don't believe was a farmers' agitation. I believe it was propelled, but many other people believe it was genuine. But why for 1 year was there an up and down on it, sir? It started from around November, November 2021. And, my standing joke is that these controversies last as long as my legal cases. The third point is on Shaheen Bagh, on CA. You spoke about the riots, but why did 56 people have to die in this city, sir? So, are you also making fundamental mistakes of communication? Will you at least concede that? You can't always blame an opposition party or blame the media for it. Is there a problem in your communication or not? Does the House agree with me? Yes, sir. Mr. Prasad, please, your turn, sir.
As a democratic government, if we respect, as a democratic government, I'm replying to your point number 2 on the 2 bills. As a democratic government, if we wish to respect some sentiments and seek to revisit the law, it does not mean we are caving in. That is what democracy is about. And land acquisition, we gave the power to the states, and many states are pursuing it. Your opposition, fine, but now many states are pursuing it. Therefore, you should not call it a day. On the agriculture law, I can only tell you this. The Prime Minister had a dialogue with them for so many months. A team under his direction was talking to them. Some people were not willing to understand at all. Then the Prime Minister said, let the democratic view take its course. And what happened in Uttar Pradesh, you saw it very well. Western UP was the fulcrum of their agitation. But the process of reform in the agriculture sector will go on. And that results, you are seeing how modern technology is taking such big giant steps in the field of agriculture. That is a debate separate chapter. We'll do it later on. On Twitter specific or no, I quite concede your point. But you have seen me taking a firm stand that Twitter banning the account of people who were raising the Capitol Hill in Washington.
Right.
And Twitter appreciating, eulogizing those who were jumping over the Red Fort with naked sword as freedom of speech and expression is plainly not acceptable. If Capitol Hill is a shining example of American democracy, the Red Fort is a shining example of Indian democracy, where the Prime Minister unfurls the national flag. And ultimately they conceded. I took a tough stand, nothing doing. You are right, they filed cases, ultimately they had to appoint. Now the present minister and the others will respond to it. But have you seen a very interesting thing or no?
Sir.
It led to a lot of changes in Twitter itself. You have seen that, the way they handled India. Let us not go into that. Yes, you have a point, should we complete, but by the way, coup came or not? I know you promote coup, I promote coup. Republic engagement is also very much through that platform. So Indian initiative is also coming about. India's startup movement, I'm very happy I had a role to play in that. Ladies and gentlemen, I wish to tell you, India's IT ecosystem, remember two facts very clearly. Indian startup movement, the third biggest in the world. Today, 100 Indian startups are unicorn. Unicorns mean you know very well, $1 billion revenue, 7,000 crores. Young people, all the fields, salute to their great innovation and enterprise. The second, one statistics always remember. India population 1.33 billion. India home to about 1.31 billion Aadhaar card, digital identity. About 1.18 billion mobile phones, out of which nearly 80 million are smartphones. This is a unique phenomena happening in the country, and for me, the biggest sense of satisfaction comes about when I go to the rural part of India and young people say, Sir, hum bhi Googling karte hain, hum bhi search engine chalate hain. That's good, innovation of India. So let us not be very indifferent to this kind of aspiration happening in the country. But you have a point or no? And I am very clear, the government of Narendra Modi is equally clear, while giving them all the space to operate in India, you will need to follow the laws of India. And I am very sure they cannot afford to ignore India, because India is the biggest market for them also. Whether it's the Facebook or the WhatsApp or the others. And Indians are also doing so well in those companies because of the great ability and technological prowess of Indians. This is how we need to see about it. अच्छा और ना बाबू एक बात मैं आपसे और कहूंगा.
हाँ बोलिए.
कृपा करके आप भारत को इतना कमजोर मत समझिए.
कोई
आ जाएगा इंग्लैंड की तरह और भारत को कैप्चर कर लेगा. अब हम लोग बहुत मजबूत हैं और यहाँ के नौजवान भी बहुत मजबूत हैं और नरेंद्र मोदी भी बहुत मजबूत हैं.
मैं तो बिल्कुल नहीं समझता हूं. मैं तो ये कह रहा हूं रविशंकर प्रसाद जी कि आप और आपकी सरकार जो जियो पॉलिटिक्स में लेवरेज कर रही है भारत के स्ट्रेंथ को, उसको मैं सपोर्ट करता हूं. We are one of the largest digital economies in the world. मैं तो कहता हूं that we should leverage that more. We should leverage that more. I am pushing you in that direction. Yeah. You are fully aware.
My young friend, sorry for interrupting you. Can you believe 200 crores vaccination was intimated how? On your mobile phone or not? When you will get the vaccination? At what destination? Can you believe it? Today, by direct benefit transfer, we have transferred how many billions of rupees and how much we have saved? 20,000 crores. Duplicate, fake. Hardly 3-4 days, the Prime Minister sent about 1 lakh crore to 11 crore farmers at a click of a button. You know it very well. So therefore, we are seeing all those things happening in India. And we'll continue to do that.
Okay, so one quick question to you. Do you worry about, I worry about the absence of an opposition in this country. Does it give you sleepless nights? I mean, you know, we always think about, Why? You find that question amusing?
अच्छा मेरे friends.
No, I know.
No,
Mr.
please.
Prasad.
I will
Prasad.
talk to my friends. अच्छा मेरे साथियों एक चीज बताइए. अपोजिशन बनाना हमारा काम है क्या? मुझे बता दीजिए.
No, but what is the?
एक मिनट रुकिए.
No, that's all right.
अगर उनको वोट नहीं देते हैं तो उनको वोट हम दिलवाएं क्या? उनके नेता यात्रा करते हैं, करते रहे.
प्रसाद इधर देखिए.
No, एक मिनट मैं आपको तो नहीं देखूंगा.
देखिए.
आपका जवाब मैं तो रुकिए एक मिनट.
हमारे
हमारा आपका ओल्ड सिस्टम चलने दीजिए एक मिनट.
ओल्ड सिस्टम चलेगा. आई एम आस्किंग यू, इट्स अ सीरियस क्वेश्चन. आप पहले इधर देखिए. यू आर ट्राइंग टू बी अ पॉपुलिस्ट. आई नो यू आर विनिंग लोकसभा इलेक्शंस नाउडेज, बट यू सी कार्तिक, he's got completely spoiled since he started fighting. He doesn't even address the anchor anymore. Mr. Prasad,
we are close friends. Take it easy. Yes.
No, Mr. Prasad, what is, in your view, the impact of a cluttered opposition in a country as vast and as globally significant as India, overall on society and the media? I just like your take on that.
Well, or no, let's be very clear. In democracy, you need to have opposition. Why not? We are most welcome. Opposition of all the shades. We are all in favor of a healthy opposition, a good debate, a good questioning. लेकिन आजकल तो संसद में क्या है कि वो हल्ला करते हैं, अपनी बात कहें, हमारा जवाब भी सुने, तो कुछ हमें भी आनंद आए. वो तो गाहे बगाहे गले भी पड़ जाते हैं आजकल, आप देखते हैं, उसको आपने देखा होगा. छोड़िए इस बात को. But what I am trying to say is, it is not my responsibility or BJP's responsibility to ensure that they get votes. अब क्या करें हम? कभी हुआ पुत्री जी आएंगे तो पार्टी खूब आगे बढ़ जाएगी. नहीं हुआ. अब कहा पुत्री जी को भेज दीजिए तो पार्टी खूब आगे बढ़ जाएगी. तो यूपी में क्या हुआ आपने देखा. अब कहीं और पुत्र आ गए तो वो पार्टी आगे बढ़ जाएगी. Remember the tectonic shift in the politics of India. The politics of India or now has become aspirationals. The young people of India, the demographic dividend we talk about, know what they expect from their leader, what kind of performance they seek. And most important, they have understood the great advantage when India is led by a popular leader and there is a stable government. That they have understood. Let's leave it to people. हम ये हमेशा कहेंगे कि कांग्रेस पार्टी जीते हमारी शुभकामना है, अपोजिशन भी आए हमारी शुभकामना है, लेकिन अगर जनता उनको वोट नहीं देती और नरेंद्र मोदी के काम को अच्छा मानती है तो इसके लिए आप मुझे क्यों आलोचना करते हैं?
नहीं, आपको नहीं कर रहा, मैं आपको नहीं कर रहा.
मत करिए आप.
I know you like the Congress. They are your biggest asset. We all know that. There's no problem on that. Every chance you get, you promote the Congress. Have you ever promoted the Aam Aadmi Party like you promote the Congress? Have you ever promoted KCR? Have you ever promoted any political party like you promote the Congress? You actively promote the Congress and you ensure that they have a longer existence. No problem with that. It could be a political strategy. My last question to you is, we can afford to have a joke at each other's expense. Only I can take these kind of liberties with you, sir. It's all right. It's all right. They've chosen me for this event. Last question to you. We need diversity in politics and society. We also need diversity in media. What if I were to take these 78 channels out? Riniki? If 78 channels are removed from the face of the Indian media, will be a better democracy? And now you'll ask me, why are you asking this question or not? You have 78 channels. You'll say it's not my responsibility to run the channels. But I'd remind you that it is. Then you'll ask me how. I'd say to you, sir, in our first session, our second session, and you'll understand this well because you've been MIB, talk was of consolidation. Who can afford to consolidate? Those who have capital. You've been IT minister. Who can afford to park capital? Like they say in India, you make an investment in India of thousands of crores, you make losses over years. Who can afford to do that, sir? The Walmarts and the Facebooks can afford to do that, not entrepreneurs. Therefore, my question is very pertinent. If Indian, and I know there are big corporate houses who are entering the media, and that's the context of my question. isn't it the government's responsibility to ensure that there remains a level playing field? If sometimes step out of its way to encourage entrepreneurs. Out of these channels, there are many entrepreneurs, sir. They've sacrificed lives. We employ people. We believe we are passionate about the business. For us, media is a business, but is not only a business. And therefore, my last question to you, and I hope I'm speaking for the House, is it not the responsibility of the government to step in when it knows that there are large capital which is coming into the media, and therefore the smaller groups? If you're supporting SMEs in all sections, why not support and actually patronize SMEs in the media sector, and more specifically the news media sector, where in India there is no subscription income. What is the subscription income, Barun? 5%, 6%, not even that. It's basically we run free-to-air channels. It's a public service. We pay crores of rupees to Prasad Bharati to be on their Dish TV free dish platform. We perform a public service. We pay lots of money for it. And then we are put to battle with huge corporate organizations whose ability to park capital in a manner which is unsustainable for us. Is it sustainable for us, Shankar? I wanted to make this point. If we want to preserve Indian democracy, we have to preserve the small and medium players in the Indian news media. Am I not? And if the government does not support us, who will? Therefore, I seek your response on this, and after that I will close.
Or no, it would have been more appropriate had you asked this question to some sitting ministers, but having handled these portfolios in some way, let me reply to it. A free press is essential for Indian democracy. And I am committed to that, and so is our government, so is our party. That is the point number one. Criticism by the media is also welcome, because that gives us the right to also reflect as to what are the shortcomings. Now the third part is concerned, this foreign giant with big money bags trying to influence the media is a larger question of debate. And I share your concerns. I have been very clear about it, that Indian media space should not be allowed to be dominated by foreign institutional investors in a big way. No, I am very clear about it. And I remember when as an INB minister, we allowed FDI or no, tumko yaad hoga.
But you also restricted it.
I wrote in the files, the foreign investors will have no editorial control whatsoever. And ultimately it holds the field even today. That we have ensured. Now regarding the level playing field is a larger question which requires some consultation, discussions and debate. But speaking for myself as a great supporter of free media, I am not in favor of very undue government regulation part which cages the freedom of media. How it can be done, in what manner it can be done is a question to be considered. Let me see the silver lining. Or no, don't you see how digital media is rising? Including those who are not very big brand names are doing so well. How I foresee, as many entrepreneurs are setting up good universities in India, which are making a big name for itself, I foresee in future good Indian entrepreneurs also setting up digital media, which will become a big player in itself to give a level playing field. This is how you see. But ultimately, what is my final take today, ladies and gentlemen? Trust India and trust Indian entrepreneurship. भारत के लोगों को न्यूज़ से इतना प्रेम है कि जब तक सुबह उठते अखबार नहीं पढ़ेंगे और अर्णव बाबू का चेहरा नहीं देखेंगे, तब तक चाय पूरी नहीं होती है. और रात में जब तक अर्णव बाबू को सुनेंगे नहीं, डिनर नहीं पूरा होता है. तो let this newsy instinct of Indians remain there. And so long as it is there, the future of media in India is always bright. Huh?
Mr. Prasad, I first of all thank you. And you still retain a little bit of that angry young man who wanted to walk out of my show 25 years back. Well, huh? No, should we take two questions? We'll wrap up because he's totally, he's no, sir, I'll wrap up now because of want of time. I'm sure he will. But let's have a nice round of applause for Mr. Prasad. Thank you. It's a wonderful session with you, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Ravi Shankar Prasad. Thank you, Arnab, for that.
Ending this insightful day will be the editors of the News Broadcasters Federation, under whose aegis this entire summit was held. The News Broadcasters Federation, NBF, is India's largest